Are you a company that makes fantastic products or delivers excellent warehousing services? Are you responsible for making the business more productive? If so, I'm sure you'll enjoy this video. Today I'm joined by John Worthland of Tip of the Spear Consulting. John is an industry expert with RFID that has years of experience successfully adapting RFID technology to solve real-world problems. John, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate me being here. Thank you.
John, why is now the time for RFID use to expand to help grow and transform your business?
Well, since the pandemic, we've seen the major focus has been on labor issues. How do I do, more with less people and less resources? And then also is for shipping accuracy, we want to make sure that the right products get on the right truck to the right customers at the right time. And we want to be able to grow and transform our business. We want to increase output, but those two issues with labor, sometimes is an issue. So RFID helps with that. And then also just the ROI of the technology. The technology's gotten better in terms of doing lots more, and it's gotten a lot cheaper. The cost of the tags has been reduced, and so it's become more attractive for customers.
How does RFID help address labor issues such as, labor shortages and increased labor cost?
Sure, that's a great question, Mark. Right, one I talk to you about every day. So what we're seeing, especially with the pandemic, the pandemic has made our customers smarter and wanting more quicker. Um, so what's happened is because of the labor shortage, it's been hard to deliver on that. So traditionally, customers will scan, let's say, a pallet coming in the door to be able to tell the ERP system, "Hey, I've got this product in. I need to do something with it." But that takes a person to actually do that, make that conscious effort to do that amongst the other 100 things that are on their plate. RFID is a sensor-based solution, so we can put sensors at the dock door in this case. So as that product's offloaded, it can automatically be sensed and received in the backend system without that worker having to do additional transactions and additional work.
In our continual struggle for 100% shipping accuracy, how can RFID help?
So shipping accuracy, or what I call outbound shipment verification, is one of the leading areas where we see our customers start their journey into RFID. It's really costly when you put the wrong product on the wrong truck and it gets to the customer and either they got the wrong thing or they received assets that they weren't supposed to get. So correcting that is an administrative nightmare, costs a lot of time, a lot of money, as well as just reducing the freight trying to get back that asset back to where it needs to go. So we're seeing RFID, really pay for itself, starting at that particular dock door with that outbound accuracy, so we can have that, that state of mind that it's the right product on the right truck and it's going to get to the right customer.
Excellent. How would RFID help you grow and transform your business, or in some cases achieve regulatory compliance for collecting additional data such as serial numbers?
Sure, that's a really good question, Mark. So that's really where customers are trying to understand is they're getting their head wrapped around this new technology, but they're not really sure if it makes sense from a financial standpoint. The technology is there, so it's not a science project anymore. So there's no risk from, hey, does it work or not? But it's really down to how can I use the sensor-based technology to improve throughput and reduce my reliance on labor? Because every time I have to scan something, especially in a regulatory environment where I have to understand every serialized box that goes out of my system or goes into a tote, that's very labor intensive. And wherever there's labor, there's also error. So those errors are reduced or almost even eliminated in some cases by adopting a sensor-based technology such as RFID.
What types of improvements have we seen in RFID technology over the past few years?
So RFID is become better from a technology standpoint. 6 or 7 years ago, we weren't able to even think about reading anything with any type of metal, with any type of liquid involved. And also reading from longer distances has also become a reality now. So when we think about RFID being able to be used in multiple verticals, by opening up, what environments it can be read in, and how far the read range and how reliable that is, those have opened up a lot of different use cases and a lot of value across a lot of different verticals. There still is physics that's required. RFID is energy, but we're seeing a lot more, RFID tags or labels that can be used in conjunction with metal assets. Also can be read from farther distances in a warehouse. So having those new tools, those new capabilities that are reliable, allow us to get more value out of the different use cases and to automate different processes that we couldn't think of doing, 6 years ago.
Excellent. What type of range of costs are we seeing these days in terms of the cost per RFID tag? Because that's always been one of the significant issues.
Sure, Mark. That's always something that I'm involved with my past lives here within the industry, and I've never been allowed to quote tags. So when somebody asks me that, how much is this going to cost me? I always kind of answer the question with a question. We're seeing a lot of adoption with RFID within the retail industry, particularly foremost is Walmart. Walmart's mandating that their manufacturers RFID tag their products as they come into the supply chain. So I asked people, I said, well, if we can agree that Walmart's one of the most judiciously responsible companies in the world, and if they're mandating putting packages, tags on packages of underwear, then you can imagine that the technology is there and the cost has come down to where it's palatable at this point.
What additional considerations do companies consider when they look at using RFID?
Well, I think when companies look at RFID, you need to understand that you need to have a partner that's going to help you educate yourself on what the technology can do and what it can't do. A lot of our customers, the leaders in our customers, have heard about RFID, but they've been doing the same process for sometimes 20, 25, 30 years. And so they're very risk adverse. And I think a good first step is just educating and allowing a good partner to come in and demonstrate the technology. Like I referred to back in a previous question with shipment verification. Do an initial use case that's going to add value to you, where you can do the initial integration with those backend systems and allow you to get you and your team to get your head wrapped around what RFID can do for you. And then you'll start understanding what other areas that you can use to improve that'll help you add value to that investment.
Okay, excellent, excellent. What new software solutions are out there that can help customers integrate and use RFID effectively these days? And what are examples of some of those things a software solution like that could do for customers?
Well, there's lots of different software out there that are very good. RFID for You comes to mind that I know you use, Mark, with some of your customers. And what you're really looking for is a software that is fairly easy to use. It can help you manage the devices and what we call the read points effectively within so your IT team can do that, but also something that's going to allow you to use that to take that information that comes in from those RFID access points or read points and integrate that information back into your ERP system into something meaningful. So when you're barcoding, let's say, if you barcode items one at a time, that data goes back to the backend or ERP system. Well, the software that's out there now will do the same thing. It's just a matter of really matching up the right hardware with the right software that makes sense for your systems. And the nice thing is most of the RFID, software that's out there, they've done integration with all of the different platforms as well as, down to spreadsheets and simple databases. So a lot of the information you're gathering, if you're already integrating that information with a barcode, then you can do that with RFID.
What are small and medium-sized companies doing with RFID? I know, historically RFID has been an area where a lot of the larger companies were the first ones to really look at it. But these days, what are small and medium-sized companies doing with RFID?
Well, yeah, RFID isn't for the big guys anymore. It's for everybody. You can start off small by just using a handheld device for helping to pack, helping to verify items before they leave your facility, just helping to locate and do inventory cycle counts. And that could be as much as a small retail store. It could be a smaller to medium-sized warehouse, but you can start small. You can start with a simple handheld. You don't have to do, real-time locationing, with ceiling apparatuses to, track every little minute, movement of your assets. It's really important to partner with a good RFID integrator or consultant that can allow you to really understand what you're doing now and understand what your goals are from a business standpoint, 1, 2, 3 years down the road, so they can help you understand how to responsibly apply this technology.
John, we also have passive RFID and active RFID. And some of the concepts I've heard you talk about in some of the training is that passive RFID gives you last known location. Briefly, what are the differences between passive RFID and active RFID, and what are most customers using these days?
So the difference is really understanding what are the business outcomes that we're trying to get with a particular environment. environment plays a big key in it. Passive RFID is an in-layered antenna with a little micro dot that has data in it that's attached to a current label that you have. There's no power that's needed, and it can be read, from distance, but it's really read, when it needs to be read, as it goes through a particular choke point, or out the door, like we've been talking about for shipping. It's really just reading when it's needed. When you get into active, you get into little larger tags that have a battery in them, and they're designed to tell you, hey, I'm here all the time, so that you can pick up those locations, those assets. And it's usually assets that move frequently, and it's usually assets that you want to know where something is, within a half a foot or so. A lot of times in a warehouse, something sitting on the shelf for 2 or 3 days, I don't need to know where that asset's going to move to every few seconds. I just need to know when it was last there and when it's moved, from point to point.
Excellent concept. Because one of the things is customers always are coming to talk to us. I want to know where everything is right now. But when we talk through the cost and the business case, really comes down to the last known location does provide them enough of a real-time solution. So great answer and an important concept. John, thank you so much for joining us today to share with folks how RFID can help them grow and transform their business. Clearly, the time is now for RFID and for customers to start using and looking at that technology. I am Mark Allen from Scan Texas. For over 20 years, we have proudly helped customers adapt state-of-the-art RFID, barcoding, and mobile computing solutions. We offer hardware, software, and a full range of support services to companies all across the United States. Customers choose Scan Texas because we deliver 3 key benefits: dependable, reliable, and flexible. If you would like a conversation to see how we can help you become more productive and profitable, let's talk. Just follow the link you see below. At Scan Texas, we don't celebrate closing a sale. We celebrate opening a relationship. Our customers will tell you we deliver untouchable service and results.